I try to remember the name of it. And everybody was supposed to translate their language to that language. And it was cancelled when they realized that English had no rules. And that's the truth. And Esperanto, that was the name of the language. Esperanto. And Esperanto, there was a time when we were talking Global Village and we were going to make everybody speak one language and it would be called Esperanto. So you would translate from French to Esperanto, English to Esperanto, Spanish to Esperanto, German to Esperanto. And when they were trying to invent the internet, the problem with there being an internet, in those days, there were no protocols, there were no ways, and anybody who was in the computer or the IT business over the last, from the time it started, over the last 40 years, would tell you that it was pure mayhem. Just trying to get a file from one computer to the next, you have to make sure that both computers had the same programs and that both computers had the same writing media. What type of removable media was available to that computer had to be working on this computer. And I remember when we had started Caribbean Online Yellow Pages, because that's how long I in this thing. We started Caribbean Online Yellow Pages in 2001. And thank God there was a Computer Planet on Arapita Avenue, because we could have go there and copy things and put them. There were so many different programs, so many different word text programs, so many different spreadsheet programs that just being able to communicate. And for there to be an internet was the same problem. All the different computer platforms at the time were coded differently. So they spoke completely different languages until someone wrote a program called Hypertext Transfer Protocol and HTTP. That you see that at the start of every website address and that kind of stuff. HTTP, that stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And that was the protocol that was invented for people to, all computers could translate to that and all computers could speak that. And that's how we end up with an internet. USB and CD-ROM and all those things, those are late developments. And God hearing me, you used to have a junk drawer full of cables just to be able to link two devices. You would need a certain thing on one end and a certain thing on the other end, and you would have things that made up of male to male, male to female, female to female. Watch now, talk about drama, splitters. Boy, you had to be a real nerd to survive in those days. Yeah? Anyway, this is the place and the time in a show where we talk about the issues. And I wanted to point out to the grammar police, because I always ask them, like when I just made that joke about 2 women bomb, tell them that joke and they say, yeah, we know. And then I ask them, you know how and why? And I know. So if you're going to play grammar police, make sure that you have the origins. Make sure you understand all of it, because you're not supposed to be pulling up people for what they don't understand if you don't understand all of it. And I detest people. They used to have a fellow working Lachlan and the Gans. And a long time ago, I worked at Lachlan and the Gans for a while. I was in charge of a department and he was in charge of a department. And the people who used to work under him used to tell me about this guy who, he didn't understand everything. But if a car that they not a custom service, a fellow named Peter Ramsube, he was the head mechanic. He was head of the service department. And if a car came in that nobody ever, and it came in to get something done on it, and nobody ever dealt with it before, he would go home that night and research it to know how to do it, to come the next day, not to help anybody, you know, but to embarrass them. So while they're trying to figure it out, he would come out in front of everybody and loudly say, no, you have to pull this and push that, and then do it so. You never worked on all these before? To make himself sound brighter than he really was. And it's people like that I feel the most sorry for, because my entire life has been about learning. And I absolutely love meeting people who could teach me new stuff. Swear to God. If you could show me something new, I'm happy to learn it. I really happy to learn something new my entire life, because I ask questions about everything. And that's why I know as much as I do, because I'm not ashamed to say I don't understand that. Tell me how that works. Because after that conversation, I have more information. I know something that I didn't know before. Anyway, we have a government. You know it had to come to politics, right? You know it had to reach today. We have a government that is ashamed of its incompetence and afraid to admit that it doesn't know everything. So look at this. This week, gone here, country ended up in arms over the proposal by the mayor of Port of Spain to replace the grass on King George V Park, Pompeii Savannah, Nelson Mandela Park, whichever name you know it as, which shows the generation it came from. But he was going to replace the grass on that park with AstroTurf and then make it use by appointment only nonsense, like the national stadiums. We have national stadiums. I know that it is the correct word is national stadia, but I know the largest amount of English speakers in the world say stadiums. So the protocol says you have to adopt that and not stop everybody on the road and tell them what the rule is. So anyway, because in other words, it could be stadiux. In other words, it could be stadia with an E. There are no rules. So if you know that one particular rule, I tell people all the time too. I learned it, so I just passed it on. Like when people, I remember I was on the radio and it was me, I think it was Vashish, Kokaram, Fitzgerald. I think Fitzgerald Hines was in the studio. We were on Power 102 and we were talking about something. And Colm Imbert called into the station and he said, good night. And the rest of us said, good evening. And he said, no, it's night by me, so it's good night. And we just left it so. But the rule is, good evening is hello at night, and good night is goodbye at night. Those are the actual rules. But he didn't know that. And it would have been of no benefit to embarrass him on the national airwaves, so we all just took the hit. Port of Spain mayor wanted to make King George V Park, Nelson Mandela Park, whatever, wants to make it closed off, walled off, like the Oval, like all the stadiums. And there are fewer and fewer places for young people to go and learn their sport. And I don't understand why this PNM hate people so. I don't understand. I don't understand why they hate people so badly. What it is about the PNM, what it is about being in the PNM, especially being in a senior position in the PNM, that makes you hate people. Why would you need to make plans that makes it so hard for people to have a better life? The PNM's existence has made life harder and harder for everybody with each passing day of their existence. There is nothing that you could point to and say, PNM did that. Tell me free tertiary education? No. Bastille Pandey created dollar for dollar that led to GATE, that led to free tertiary education. But it's the UNC did that. It's Bastille Pandey that created an integrity commission. It's Bastille Pandey that created a heritage and stabilization fund. It's the National Alliance for Reconstruction that changed certain things and opened up the communication. So we have multiples of TV stations that got us the cables and radio stations. Before, under the PNM, it was a complete communist society. For the first 30 years of Eric Williams, he shrunk us down to everything that the PNM could control. And I just wonder what it is about those people. Why does PNM seem to attract people that don't like people? Instead of you coming, UNC put lights on King George V Park. Zanny Roberts put them lights. You could have come in and make 2 free football pitch for them boys. And proper, so they don't have to drop their foot. And it's Anthony Saloom in Fairways. And I know, because we had an event there. And Anthony really gave me stress about making sure that the ground surface is okay after for people to use to play sports, so that they don't have to twist their ankle. And I really want to say, it's disgustingly depressing that the Prime Minister would have to say, he would have to insult Joel Martinez, because that's what he did. He insulted him when he said, and I want to read it, replacing the national environment at Mandela Park with artificial turf is a salesman's foolish idea that ought not to waste the time and the resources of the Port of Spain Corporation. What's he talking about? Is it a salesman trying to sell the PNM? Or is it he talking about Joel Martinez, an insurance salesman who is now the mayor? The government is sure the corporation can put its time and money to much better use and spare us all this unnecessary aggravation. If you went this far to insult and embarrass this man, what are you waiting on? Him to resign? You should call for his resignation tonight. I understand he's Imbert's best friend. I want people telling me. People telling me he's the fella that buy all of Imbert's used cars and drive around in them. I don't know if that's true. But Joel Martinez as mayor of Port of Spain, when Keith Rowley said replacing the natural environment at Mandela Park with artificial turf is a salesman's foolish idea that ought not to waste the time or the resources of the Port of Spain Corporation. If you are the Prime Minister and you have an appointed mayor that made such a stupid decision without consulting the Minister of Sport or the Minister of Finance, you need to be in the business, Rowley, of firing him. But if I were you, I would check to see if he got that $20 million approval from the Minister of Finance. And I'd fire him too. I want to tell you, Keith Rowley, your stocks would shoot through the roof if you fired Colm. I know few people in this world as disliked as Colm. I'm sure that if ever anybody ever thought of giving their child the rough life of having to explain how to pronounce Colm, I'm sure because of this Colm, nobody naming their children Colm. Nobody want to name their child Colm for anybody to think that that child have anything to do with Colm in birth. He is not a liked person. He's disgusting. The only people that take him on is the people that have to. And the people who benefiting from it. Let the gravy train stop tomorrow, partner. You will understand why the cheese stood alone at the end of that nursery rhyme. Let the gravy train stop tomorrow now. Why has the Prime Minister not fired? To the people who are messaging me and telling me how cute I'm looking and my hair is looking nice, thank you. I find so too. And it was a rush job. I swear it was a rush job, but it ended up looking very, very, I like it. I like what I see it. So somebody make a joke the other day and say, despite all the things you say about calling yourself sexy, you had to know I'm joking, eh? You had to know I don't take myself that serious. And that's why I say those things. Yeah? I know to laugh at myself. That's the high point of sanity. When you know how to laugh at yourself, when you stop taking yourself too seriously. There's a lot of these people that take themselves so seriously that end up at the end of their lives trying to understand what they should have done with it instead. There are some very wealthy people in Trinidad and Tobago who, when they got a sickness diagnosis, traveled the world trying to buy, bribe, beg, borrow an extra day. Men with power that literally lose their mind. Men with power. I know a man who was buying up the whole of Woodbrook, Sinclair. If he lean on a wall, this for sale. And now he don't know his own name. And I don't wish those kind of things on anybody, you know. Don't think that that's what I'm saying. I'm using it to make an example to you. That we all, look at Bella. Bella is 3. I got Bella late in life. And she matters a lot to me. And I went to visit my father tonight, and I look at him at his age. And I'm constantly doing arithmetic. Because the arithmetic that I am doing is to constantly make sure that I am healthy and fit and strong to guide her for as long as I could. To be there for her for as long as I could. But I have to face the fact that all this gorgeousness, I have to tell somebody the other day, a fella tell me, he say, you know, I was listening to your videos and I can't believe how bright you is. I say, I know, when you're this pretty, people just think automatically that you're stupid. You all remember that from Friends? That's what Joey said. All of this, and I don't understand how a country this blessed could be this blighted. How is it possible that the collective of us could be so stupid that this is what we settle for? Look around, look at it, look at everything. All of these 5-year chunks of our lives that has been spent navigating political mismanagement and corruption, all of it. And we look at them and we play lesser evil games. This one don't rob me as hard. When that one was in office, I get a drain outside my house, so I'll give them an next 300 billion to try. Listen, first of all, stop applauding the government when it finally does its job. I'm trying to figure out why Rowley slapped down Martinez publicly. And the only thing that I could think of is that Rowley and Imbert at war. That's the only thing I could think of. Because Martinez is nobody's favorite boy. And it's easy to fire him. Tim Key was their favorite boy. And Tim Key got fired over talking crap about Asami's costume. And she looked for it kind of shit. When they march against him, PNM circle no wagons, bossy throat. Why Joel Martinez wasn't just promoted into obscurity? Why the party that doesn't air its dirty laundry went so public with this one? And why is Joel Martinez still the mayor of Port of Spain tonight? The commissioner of police upgraded the barracks. The barracks was in disarray. But before he upgraded that, I watch it and I know police officers telling me, see, this commissioner, he understands. And go by up the road from the barracks where the horses are, that section, go and see how they repaired and fixed up that as well to make space available for people who operate in an external environment. Those things matter. And I understand he did some AstroTurf or something, I'm not sure, so I could be speaking out of turn, but he did something to do, he did a football field and then he did a hockey field, and you know, I know Gary well, and I know that Gary, while he spent his life in the army and with security business, so he's He's a lot more aware of security business and just about anybody. But he told me when he was Minister of National Security, he said he'd have preferred the Ministry of Sport. It's his love. Sport is his love. So it didn't surprise me that his son ended up working so hard to be a national athlete. You know? So Gary put down some AstroTurf, if that is true. And Martinez think, well, let me get my ratings up. Let me put on some AstroTurf too. And I feel that's what he did. Or somebody chain him up. Somebody chain him up to tell him, lock all them children outside King George V Park or Nelson Mandela Park. Because that could be the only reason for coming to do this. Nobody wants it. It's like Colm Imbert. I should just say that as I call my word. No, but nobody wants that. Nobody's asked for that. Nobody needs that. Somebody messaged me, AstroTurf in an open air field in a rainforest. And it's as ridiculous and as stupid as that. And the $20 million that you was going to spend to do that, you could have spent that on so many other things that upgraded life for so many children. You could have said $5 million in ballet shoes, $5 million in football shoes, $5 million in cricket bats, $5 million in gymnastic outfits. Let's see how many people we could get into some of these sports. I mean, there was so much better things that you could do with that money than to go and rip up the grass to plant. He has to be fired. He has to be fired for being so stupid. It is such a stupid plan. It's a ridiculous idea. And he shouldn't be trusted with the authority to do any of those things. He shouldn't be. He should have taken that $20 million and go down by Riverside Plaza car park that he turned into a jail for the homeless. And he should go down there with that $20 million and convert all of it from being a car park. Now that Riverside Plaza is a police station, take the whole car park and turn it into living quarters for the homeless and make it a homeless shelter, proper homeless shelter. Fund the St. Vincent de Paul Society better so that they don't have to beg for their money and you late with the money and they have to, and their workers have to call me to put St. Vincent de Paul on blast. Why don't you just deal with that? Why not the lowest rung of society first? What did you need? What somebody, I mean, I tell you, if Martinez is not the dotish, stupid salesman Rowley referring to, then this referring to corruption. Because if it's a salesman's stupid idea that chain up the mayor, why? Why? You know? And I thought tonight would be a good time for a frank conversation. But I couldn't get in touch with Frank. So we'll just continue as we go in. And yeah, I threw that in as a joke. Because people seem to like the humor. Last week we did a couple of lives and had some humor in it and people enjoyed it. This is Monday, August the 2nd. We are well into the third quarter of the year. Yes, and I did count it on my fingers. We are well into the third quarter of the year. And we have, and I was thinking today, you shall not tell me no government could have made, not the thieving, not the stunting, not the posturing, not the pretending of it. You mean to tell me that no government could have made capturing, holding, treating, and distributing water their priority? No government could have made securing the borders. I mean, just one thing. I said something the other night to Keith Rowley when he said, we are Some of us on Facebook feel we are what? Masters of everything. And I tell him, partner, we would give anything for you to be a master of one. Speak one thing. Say, you know what? I'm going to fix education. And by the end of this 5-year term, all our schools will be prestige schools. I'm going to put all of the resources of the state and the government and the cabinet, this is what we're going to focus on. Or we're going to fix public health. And I'm going to put all of the resources in the state to fix public health so that an ambulance in an emergency is 9 minutes away, that we have burn units throughout the country, we have proper accident and emergency departments, 41 accident and emergency departments, and you know, fix water. That by the time this 5-year term ends, all the regions of Trinidad and Tobago would be responsible for capturing, holding, treating, and distributing their own water, so we could finally break that disgusting contract for desalinated water. I tell you, if ever there was a reason for God to pack and leave Trinidad, it was that desalcot contract. Hafiz Karamat, Satan's spawn that he was, he had to be the most corrupt and corrupting son of a bitch we ever had. He sold water to a country that drowns in rainwater for free. He's brilliant. He actually convinced governments. Now, you see, this is where pandemics get clout for doing this kind of shit, that kind of corruption. Because the desalination plant was an unnecessary expenditure and a drain on this country. We spend $500 million a year for seawater. We could spend 1 year's desalcot bill. 1 year. We could spend 1 year, $500 million, and fix water permanently. You'd never have a problem again. Ever. Ever, ever, ever. This country is rich with water. We are drilling. We have water drilling and tapping into the underground reservoirs that should have been last resort. Desalination is for when, I don't know if there would ever be a time when Trinidad would need to even contemplate desalination. But the things that we do is inane and stupid, and all of those, Keith Rowley, seems to be like a salesman's foolish plan to sell us wells. We don't need wells. We need capture, hold, treat, and distribute. That's what we need. We need retention ponds. We need dams. We need lakes. That's what we need. We need to use the power of running water to power the pumps, to send the water to reservoirs. That's what we need. And we need all of the, you could do it north, east, central, south, deep south, far east, Tobago, 2 in Tobago, 8. You could do 8 decentralized WASAs that meet somewhere with a one-way valve that you open in case your neighbor has no water, and you lend them some. And you open your valve and you lend them some. But you isolate and you isolate them, and you identify each constituency, how they get in their water. And you make that happen. And that's so easy to do. For the amount of money that we spend paying desalcot for 1 year, we could fix water in this country and make it almost free. Almost free. Because the water powers itself. Do you know that the Romans and the Babylonians were using the flow of water and physics to move water over mountains or underground through pipes 2,000, 3,000 years ago? And we can't do that now. We can't do that now. 1492, Columbus sailed from Europe to Trinidad without knowing where he was going, without having a clue where he was going. And we can sail effectively from Trinidad to Tobago still. You're telling me that? I find that is so hard to accept. So ridiculously hard to accept. We've had depraved, inane, incompetent, corrupt governments. You're tired to hear that word corrupt, but you have to hear it because that's where the money went. They stole the money. My friend Ian Griffith reminds me that Trinidadians need to be given hope, and they need to be told that it can fix, and that you should mention in passing all the ways that you would fix it or that you could fix it, and it's easy. And I don't understand a nation known internationally as a narco state, and that narco business has undermined and damaged all our offices of state. We've corrupted every part of this country with that dirty money, and we've written laws to prevent you from saying what is wrong. And the only last place that you could speak the truth is in the parliament without penalty. And we keep voting people into the parliament that have no interest in speaking the truth. But secure the borders. Securing the borders in Trinidad is an easy thing. It is literally draw a line in the sea and say, don't cross here. If you cross here, we will sink you. There are designated landing spots in the country. Go there. And when people come to open a yacht club and a yachting association and these things, you set it up in such a way that they have, if people from those yacht clubs and yachting associations drive out of Trinidad's territorial waters, motor out of Trinidad's territorial waters, that they have to go back to a designated landing spot first. So customs and immigration, if not police, could look and see if they went to pick up cocaine or guns or ammunition. And please, 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 don't pretend for a minute that is more of a Beatam Labantel and Sealots bringing in the drugs. I'm not going to allow you. Okay? So stop it. Stop it now. The fact that you socialize with people who you know you don't know how they get their money, but you don't care because we drinking and we liming and nice ass, that's not my concern. You deal with you. But don't pretend for a minute that the poor people who living in galvanized and old wood shack bringing in AR-15 and all them guns you see that the Prime Minister talking about, and 50,000 guns that we have, the illegal guns. Who pay for that? Guns expensive. The smallest handgun is $5,000. Guns expensive. So you're talking about 50,000 guns in the country. Do their maths. I'm not doing it tonight. My brain tired. Some of them guns, Maurice Nunes told me an AR-15 is $50,000 and $60,000, Phillip. Them fellas, them fellas, everything they own, their whole family, if you weigh them, you sell them for parts, they're worth that. And it's true. So, there are people that you go to church with, that your children go to school with, that you socialize with, that when you're not looking, undermining your country, that's involved in the most heinous of crimes. So anyway, so we're not having that conversation, right? So when I tell you, if you jump in your boat and you sail around inside Trinidad's territorial waters, like yourself, like up yourself. If you step beyond that line in the water, then you have to go back to a dedicated landing site first. And Coast Guard has to make sure that you do that so that we don't have guns and drugs and dirty money coming in here to undermine other businesses. We've had people selling canned foods in supermarkets cheaper than the prices legitimate importers were paying manufacturers. So it was obviously there was laundering money. And that undermines the economy, and it undermines legitimate business, and it drives them out of business, and it rewards criminal enterprise. You could have made your term in office, this is your second term. Imagine if your first term you said solving water and you did it. And now in this second, you could have said solving crime. You appointed Gary as commissioner. Go the next step, secure the borders. Gary tell you, secure the borders. Give them a marine police. We have a marine police. If nothing is an insult to the Coast Guard, it is the marine police. And I'm not saying that the police trying to insult anybody, you know. I'm saying the fact that we need a marine branch in a country this small, when we have a Coast Guard. What's the point of the Coast Guard? If we have a marine branch of the police, what's the point of the Coast Guard? Anybody know? You could have said, first term, water for everybody. Because that's everybody's pet peeve. You know? That you can't fix water, boy. Water falling from the freaking sky. You can't fix that. Fix that. Secure the borders is as simple as deploying obstacles in the ocean. It could be the boats that we already have. It could be the maritime security wall apparatus that since Manning, that's going to cost $500 million, deploying redeveloped oil barges that are now platforms equipped with fast attack boats and interceptor helicopters. You could have had this country secure so tight. Nobody was coming in. None. And you could have used international overseers, supervisors, and rotate them in and out. You could have set up a proper police internal affairs division to help Gary. Purge the whole force. Find all the criminals in the force, bring them to justice. You see, and I was thinking tonight, when the application of law itself becomes corrupt, the entire nation is corrupt. You sit down in a court and you can't trust what's going on in the court. What's the point of the laws? If you're dealing with police and you can't trust the police, what's the point of the laws? What is the point of saying that the country is a nation ruled by law when you have no regard for your own law, when you have no regard for the application, the proper application of law? What are people to believe in? Because when countries fall, it gets so hard to stand them back up because the people lose faith. They lose trust in men and men's systems. It's why people say, commission of inquiry, them things don't work. People say that because we've done so many commissions of inquiry for no purpose. We didn't action and we didn't follow through on the recommendations that the commissions suggested. And if we had done that every single time, China would be a better place. China would be a better place. If we had a government that said, okay, I'm going to appoint a minister of finance to redevelop the economy. We're going to diversify the economy. We're going to balance the budget. And we're going to rein in the financial institutions, the banks and the insurance companies. And we're going to do that sensibly over the first term. Bring all of those things. We're going to go into parliament and we're going to identify. You see, there are plenty good lawyers in this country who could tell you all of the laws that we should repeal. And the ones that are just nonsense, junk them, repeal them. And the ones that need updating, update those. Update those. We have thousands of people languishing in jail that can't get a case. They can't get a hearing. They can't afford a lawyer. They can't make bail. The charge they're on entitled to bail. They can't make bail. They've been in jail twice as long as they could have been if they were sentenced. And I mean, some of all you thinking, frig them. I never forget Gerald Aboud from Starlight Drugs when I said, let us give the police bonuses. Frig them getting paid already. You getting paid, Gerald? You just work your ass off because you want more. Everybody so. You think only you want more? You think it's only you want to go and pick up little girls in BMWs, I mean young girls in BMWs and take them for drives? Other people want that too. So come on. Why it is we have to be so hateful to each other? Why it is we can't recognize that those people in that jail are people too, that were babies once, toddlers. Mothers and fathers had visions for their lives. You want to blame and castigate. This country tries to pretend it's not racist, but the people who have the power treat people who of I want to say their own race with such contempt. If I were Prime Minister today, tomorrow, the Commissioner of Prisons and the Chief Justice would have a job to do. I want to know all of those people who have been in jail longer than they should have been. Because somebody, the president going to pardon them, the Chief Justice going to let them out, somebody, we're going to bring them into court, all of them, and we're going to sentence them to time served, and then we're going to purge their record and get them a second chance. But somebody should be doing that. You can't tell me that you have a man in jail longer than he could possibly serve if you convict him and still waiting for a trial. That is hate. That is hate for yourself and hate for other people. And that, the Commissioner of Prisons tell you, that's the majority of people in the jail. That's the majority of people in the jail. If you get rid of all of that, you know what you do to the court dockets? You know what you just did? You just cleared years off the court's dockets and freed up the courts to put all of those resources and energy into the real matters. Malam in se. Evil in themselves. Those matters should be brought to front. We need all of the people who on a murder charge. As Vernon Delima tells us, process them quick. Process. Try. And if found guilty, give them all of their appeals until they exhaust all of their appeals, and then take them outside and hang them. Listen, murder, kidnapping, human trafficking, those crimes. Why do you think people make so much joke about the man who fall off the chair? Why do you think people didn't take it seriously as you all wanted us to take it seriously? Nobody supports extrajudicial killing. Everybody wants to live in a country where the rule of law applies. Does the rule of law apply in Trinidad? Does it apply? Your squinting and my squinting and hoping and praying that it starts to work tomorrow doesn't make it work. Does it apply? And if it doesn't apply, do we continue a revolving door to let killers out in the streets to kill more people? The man who killed Andrea Barrett had 70 charges over his head. 70 charges. The man who killed Andrea Barrett. And I'm sorry for saying it like that, and I apologize to Randolph if he's on the live tonight. But I needed that to hit home, that you need to understand that if the courts had dealt with him, Andrea would be alive today. We can't continue to pretend that the wrong that was done yesterday could be excused by a oops and a sorry. What the Minister of Communication did was a fireable offense. What the Mayor of Port of Spain just did is a fireable offense. Fire them. You see, it set an example to the rest of your cabinet. But I don't think that this is a government like that. And I find myself in a very strange place today where I'm proud of Keith Rowley and the stance that he took on King George V Park. And I find myself looking around to see if I woke up in some kind of bizarre dream. Because that's what he's supposed to do. That is exactly the job. That's the whole job. I tell you all, the Prime Minister's job, man management. You set all the targets. And you put the right people in the job to achieve the targets. And you monitor them. That's the job. 15 strong teams. 15 strong teams answering to you. That is the whole job. Prime Minister work. And tonight, over the course of 6 years, he come closest to actually doing the job. He should have fired Martinez in that sentence. The ending of that post, that release, should have been, I've called for the resignation of the mayor of Port of Spain. Should have been that. So the people would know that we have a prime minister, for whatever reason, willing to take action. You see, I don't want no job. I don't want no, I never did. If I did, I'd do like Simon the Nobrega. Cuss one side for what they're doing and lie to the next side that they're not doing wrong. And get myself in and land and lick ass until they promote me. With my abilities, they'll promote me quick. But I never wanted to be in that. I don't want that. It's not an enjoyable life. To them, I have a partner, he say, some people, their aspiration in life tells you how limited their thinking is. To a lot of them, a ministry is a big work. To a lot of them who've never had any natural authority or any natural ability to make money or have no natural respect in society. Nobody know their name, nobody care about them. So they want to look for a place where they could get a look at me. So this morning I shared some and I pulled it back down because I didn't want people to think it falling in their garden. But never surrender respect for attention. Every now and then, I watch my Facebook and I analyze it, I audit it, and I ask myself, which posts here should not be here? Because I constantly have to remind myself, I'm not selling Phillip Alexander. That's not what I'm selling. I'm selling a better vision of a country. I'm selling people responsible for their country. I'm trying to embolden people. People ask me, why you speak like that? I speak like this so people at all levels of society can understand me. And all of you all who pretending, when you have on shirt and tie and your satin silk drawers, that you don't talk like this. I party with you. I know how you talk when you're drunk or when you're high or when you're vexed or when you're sad. I know you. I grew up with you. All you who feel and pretend and trying to fool other people, all you don't talk like the people in lab until bullshit, I know you. And all of we have the same way. So I talk like this so people understand the words I say. I'm never selling myself. You know what people will say? I'd vote for him if he didn't take that position on that. You know how much times I have to look at Jason Gordon. Today, I had to put out a position on the Archbishop of Port of Spain. This is what I put out today on the Archbishop of Port of Spain. And I want to make a point. Archbishop Jason Gordon's position on the vaccine is factually wrong and an abuse of the authority of the church over its parishioners, and he should immediately step down. To tell Catholics that they have a moral responsibility to take an unproven vaccine under circumstances which make no sense based on fear-mongering claims of a virus that science is debunking more and more every day is a surprising move, and not only leaves him isolated as wrong, but embarrasses the church in the not-too-distant future. Another example of senseless overreaction by persons in authority, leading those who look up to them astray. I know Archbishop Jason Gordon as Jason. I know him before he was a priest. I know Jason well. He is my friend. And today, I had to take a position opposite to Jason publicly. Now, a lot of times, people who think that I should give them a blind, or Phil, you know me, you gotta call me on the phone, you gotta send me a WhatsApp, you gotta send me a text, you didn't have to do me so. Take it personally. And then we are friends no more. I hope that's not the case with Jason. But I'm trying to say that I have an authentic voice in society. More and more people. So Facebook tells me my biggest demographic, black people in poor communities. My biggest support base is in the hotspots and the at-risk. Facebook shows me all of the numbers where my views are the highest consistently. Mova, Beta, Blaventil, Silots, Bagatelle, Rich Plain, Covine, Cocorite. Today I was in Fort George by a job site dealing with something and people walking up the Cocorite steps. Hey, Mr. Phillip, how you going? I want to tell you something. Huh? For my whole life, I've said this. If I impress the people in Goodwood Park and I don't impress the people in Cocorite, I'm doing something wrong. And I prefer to walk freely. Look now, we was in San Fernando East and I walked in places by myself, canvassing. I walk, people say, no politician ever come up here. No politician up in the back of Paramin. I went up some streets, people say, nobody don't walk up there, partner. People with your coloring, that's what they say, your coloring. People with your coloring. I said, not me, Dread. This is, I on a mission, I on a walk. This walk is me and the people and we talking. And somebody had to hear them. And somebody had to talk to them. And they have to, at some point, there had to be somebody on this mission that people could believe. If he talk, if he say it, boy. If that man say it, he go in and do it. There had to be somebody. And I said to the people on my teams, I said, listen, I want to quit this 5 years now. I want to done this. I hate this. Hate it with a passion. I hate this video tonight. I hate doing this. I hate having to do it. More than anything, what I wish is that there could be a good government. And I will give them, you know, give them stick. You could give them some reminders. You could lead a national conversation. That's why I formed a citizens union. I say, you know what? Let's give ourselves so much collective bargaining power that we don't have to get into government to make government work right. Because you could have government busy doing what you want. That is the responsibility of citizens in a democracy. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever, no time ever forget that. That's our job. That's our role in this. And that's why I get so disappointed when good people who could contribute strength to the middle. You see, let's talk about the third force. Forget that phrase. Talk about the middle. The middle is where we all are. The middle is where we live. You don't go to a P&M mechanic yard if your car giving trouble. You don't go to a UNC hospital. You don't go to a P&M, you don't go to a P&M grocery looking for a deal. You're looking for, you're outside there and you're dealing, if you're driving taxi, you ain't telling people, only P&M people coming in this taxi, only UNC people come. You're not. You're a contractor, you're driving truck. You don't care who gave you work. We live in the middle. It's the middle I'm trying to fix. I'm trying to fix the middle and build the middle out so far that it push the extreme left and the extreme right into the sea. That the whole country become that middle. That the whole country could be, and I keep saying, red, white, black, green, and every shade in between. One people. One people. You could be as black as the ace of spades. You could be more Indian than Shah Rukh Khan. It doesn't matter. You could be straight from China. Can't talk a word of Chinese if you're a Trinidadian. I'm saying, white people, black people, Indian people, Syrian people, Chinese people, any original people, first people, any people. If this is where we live, shouldn't we want this to work? Shouldn't we want this? How many times you're driving down the road and you accidentally hit a pothole and you know you damage your car or you throw off your alignment and that's money? How many times? How many times you say to yourself, these blasted people in government can't get something as simple as paving a road, boy? Romans built roads 2,000 years ago. It's still functional. The Americans built Chagaramas. The Americans cut the road to Maracas. The Americans built Wallerfield. Those roads are still standing 60 years later, 80 years later, they're still standing formidably. Our contractors can't fix a road that lasts a term, an electoral term. And obviously it's corruption, and obviously it's for kickbacks, and obviously it's to keep generating work. But how many times have you thought to yourself, your child gets sick and you don't know who to call? You know, those people just call me, those messages I have. A woman called me today. She called me on every messenger she could find. That her mother is in Mount Hope. And they put it on the paper that she getting drips and she not getting drips. She calling me. I am the last in the food chain. What am I supposed to do? Call the Minister of Health? What am I supposed to do for her? How do I fix this? For her. The man who sells doubles for Darren's doubles, call Satish and give him give him his number for me to call him. He in a mess and he don't know who to talk to. So you want to talk to me? It's starting to get to the point where, and all of the team, Felicia and all of them, dealing with people and saying, look, you had to understand, they have only so many hours in a day, and he can't meet with everybody for everything. And I'm saying that to say this, that what we're trying to build is people helping people. Amri Dulal just took up the responsibility of building a team to be the first responders for all the people who have problems, who call into us that want help. There are people who's calling and give me all the excuses why they can't be a member of Citizens Union, they can't afford it, the job not paying them enough or whatever, but they need my help. And I want to explain to them for no other reason other than there are only so many hours in the day. I can't help everybody yet. But the person who's supposed to be able to do that is the Prime Minister. And you need to understand, if you are not going to somebody that is being paid by the state to look after your problems. They have a man in Saganga Chase in Diego Martin behind St. Finbar's Church that having a problem with the Diego Martin Regional Corporation 30 years. And he waiting for me to come in his yard and see where the regional corporation run a river. Another woman called me and she want to talk to me because somebody who know a minister put a gate across a road where they live in and lock the gate and say they have permission, that is their land now. People can't get into their own property. These people, and I just call these things off the top of my head, but these people reach out to me because nothing works in Trinidad, and they believe that if Phillip Alexander, the security guards from Thor Security that had reached out to me originally, because they just wasn't getting paid, they still keep updating me of everything that's going on in the company. They still keep messaging me to let me know what people are doing. People still messaging me about TSTT and their phone line, and they're still charging them to rent a phone that they give back. All of these things, there are offices of state responsible for. And the fact that those people are not doing their jobs is every reason why you cannot continue to support political parties that just about the winning election business and not about running the country business. And that's the important thing. Don't you want it to work? Don't you want to know that your child go off to school in the morning and gets a good education? Public transport takes your child to the school, brings your child back to you safe and sound? That nobody will put God out their thoughts to even think about interfering with anything of yours because justice will be swift and it will be sure and it will be certain. These are not magical things. This is not rocket science. There are 183 countries in the world that have all these things working for them. Wouldn't you like to know that there is a minister of the economy responsible for understanding that the recurring expenditure of Trinidad and Tobago is $38 billion annually? That's the recurring expenditure. That's the house, that is the country equivalent of rent, lights, phone, cable, food, transport. That's the country equivalent. $38 billion a year. Then you have the developmental index, because you know the budget that you want to do things, but all of the budgets of the things that you want to do have to either A, save money, or B, create ways for the country to make money. That is the only reason for spending money. Even when you build a new highway, you track that in money saved, in hours saved, you know, man hours saved. It's always about that. It always comes down to a quantifiable cost. What is the justification for building a flyover for $1 billion from Victoria Keys to West Mall? What is the justification to all the people of Trinidad and Tobago that you would pick up that money and spend it? There's none. Fire the man. What is the justification for taking $20 million and to put AstroTurf in King George V Park, Nelson Mandela Park? What's the justification when it full with people playing sports there every single day now? What's the justification? None. Fire the man. Fire him. You don't need people to give you multiples of reasons to show you that they have no idea what the hell they're doing. And then you have to talk about this COVID-19 thing, and I tried to avoid it for this whole video. But you've started to admit that I was right all along, Keith Rowley. So let's meet in the middle. I want to give you this. I'm willing to give Keith Rowley, I'm willing to give you my support. Straight up. Hear me say this. Let's start to fix this shit. Let's start to fix it. I used to believe in Keith Rowley. When Patrick Manning had fired Keith Rowley, I was the person who created on social media a page called Keith Rowley for Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago. That was me. I believed in that man. That's why I come at him so hard, you know, because I believed in him. I believed he was a genuine article. When you hear me talk about I went to the Prime Minister in August 2003, the reason I know that by heart is because I used to quote it when I was defending him. Not like all of these just comes, and I am not in any way interested in being part of anybody's political party, political movement, or want any political office. I need nothing from nobody. I don't want no shortcut. I don't want no blue lights. I don't want no easement. I don't want no contract. There's nothing that I want. What I want is a country that runs properly so that the rest of us can have a normal, decent life. We have all of the blessings in this country that all of us can have a normal, decent, safe, and happy life. And that's all I care about, and that's all I've ever been doing this for. So when you don't hear me pushing myself as Prime Minister, when I Prime Minister, if I Prime Minister, people like that kind of talk. But it don't sit well with me because, let me tell you, I don't feel like that should be the goal. The goal always should be, you see how the people mobilized for Andrea? I felt like we did something there. We tapped into the human psyche and we got them all on the same page. This should not have happened. It can't happen on our watch. We will stand together. That's it. That's the work. That's the whole work. Yes, I pretend sometimes it look nice like tonight, but I'm not going to take pictures and put this up to get 1,000 likes because that's not the business I'm in. And I don't care who vex. And I don't care who outside there want to bad talk me because they can't answer me and they can't debate me. And all of that is truth and made me sound arrogant. But I heard Pep Guardiola. I was watching a show today about Manchester City. And he said the great and the best are always arrogant. It comes across that way. When they speak the truth of their condition and their abilities. And that's a fact. You can't get Lionel Messi to tell him, yeah, I can kick a little ball. Brian Lara can tell him, yeah, you take a knock. I am the best in the world at what I do. And I need to be able to say it that way. I know how incredibly knowledgeable I am, how capable I am. I am a problem solver. There are a lot of people in a lot of businesses like to know that they have access to me, to call me on the phone to say, this is the scenario I'm dealing with, crunch that. Because they know that's what I do. That's what I do. When you hear me talk, go back and look at my video for years. Every time I raise a problem, I give you the solution. Every time for free. And again, all I'm saying is, why don't we all want a better country? Keith Rowley, if you admit over 200,000 people have gotten COVID by now without knowing it and have gotten over it and have developed natural immunity, if you have accepted that, then let us change the whole narrative. If you've accepted that children, you've said it. You said out of the same mouth that I asked if it's insane when you spoke about vaccinating the children. You said children can't get it. You have accepted it. And I said a couple nights ago, is either you all don't know, which is bad, or you all know and you're lying, which is worse. It seems that you know Keith Rowley, seems that you know, and more important than anything to me right now, is getting my country functional. I want to tell you this. The mission always is. It's not going to change. Identify all of the at-risk persons in society. All. Identify them and give them, if they want, give them vaccinations. I'm not going to go on no anti-vaccination drive. What I am saying is that those 200,000 people that you spoke about, you cannot vaccinate them. You've admitted they have natural immunity. But your people are not testing in their mass vaccination drive. So you are going to be vaccinating to give immunity to people who are already immune. And this is what came out of Israel today. Israel's public health chief. Now, I want you to understand why I'm quoting Israel. Israel is the most vaccinated country in the world after Gibraltar. Israel's public health chief says evidence points to waning COVID vaccine immunity. These people vaccinated all of their people with Pfizer, and it is failing. That's what he is saying. Previously, we thought that fully vaccinated individuals are protected. Dr. Sharon Alroy-Priest tells CBS Face the Nation, adding the coronavirus Delta variant is 50% more infectious. Dr. Sharon Alroy-Priest, Israel's Director of Public Health Services, said Sunday that evidence points to the waning immunity in the COVID-19 vaccine, saying her two biggest concerns with the Delta variant relate to its level of infectiousness and the rising rate of vaccinated individuals testing positive. It's 50% more infectious than the previous variant, which was 50% more infectious than the original one, Alroy-Priest told CBS Face the Nation, noting that a third of Israel's population has not been covered, particularly Israel's large population of non-vaccinated children. So understand what's going on here. Understand this. Now, my brother told us, as he tells the rest of the world, yes, when viruses mutate, they will always become more infectious but less deadly. So it's quickly becoming a common cold. That's what's going to happen. Plenty people gonna get it, not gonna kill nobody. So stop panicking when you hear the name Delta. All right? But the point I want to make is this. You have to change how you're doing business. You have to identify the people at risk, the obese, the elderly, and those with serious underlying conditions. And you have to encourage them through public service announcements, because we take responsibility for our elderlies. Our elderly parents, we take responsibility for them. So, our elders. So we should encourage everybody in that business. And it's a smaller group of people. So it's easier to assist with the elderly poor. It's a smaller group of people for the obese and the sick. You can't come and show up and say, I'm sick, I can't work. You have to have a diagnosis. You have to have been treated by a doctor. And we could insist that we test your diagnosis. So all of this. But that's still going to come down to about 50,000 people. 100,000 people. And that 100,000 people is a manageable sum. Because now you have a known quantity. And of that manageable sum, you know what percentage could, if they don't take proper precautions, could end up requiring medical intervention. We know now the last thing you want to do is intubate and put people on ventilators. We know that. We know that there are ways to go after the COVID-19 virus in your nose, in your throat, in your larynx, in your lungs. We know that. We know how to treat it in the different theaters of operation within the human body. We understand all of that. We know the drugs. We know what to do to increase the airways. We understand it. We understand it now. So we don't have to be panicking, and we don't have to be panicking the people. But what Dr. Tim Gopi Singh said about all of the people who are handling our pandemic response is absolute truth. And I have said that since they started these press conferences with these people and introducing you to all these junior doctors and calling them head of this and head of that. A title don't make you capable. Look at Carl Membert. He's the Minister of Finance. and he have no idea what the ass he doing. Look at Rohan Sinanan. He's the Minister of Works and Transport, and everything to do with works and transport is shit. Look at Clarence Rambarat. He growing nothing. Nothing. These people have title. Shamfa Kujo is the Minister of Sport. The Olympics going on, and Trinidad and Tobago should have saved the money. Title don't make you competent. Title don't make you able. We need competent, capable people with hospital experience, with pandemic experience. You have people called head of epidemiology who never dealt with the epidemic in their life. Giving them title, promoting them beyond their maximum incompetence. That all that have to stop. We have to take this thing seriously. Focus on those 100,000 people. And close the borders properly. Fitzgerald Hines is not a Minister of National Security. Fitzgerald Hines is a party promoter. Let him be Chief PNM promoter. Give him a cocaine broom and a foghorn and a bullhorn, and send him around the country screaming about how good PNM is. But don't put him in any ministerial position. Find a proper Minister of National Security and tell him, secure the borders. And it is easy to do. And I could put you on to at least 5 people who could do that job properly. With Gary as Commissioner of Police and a proper Minister of National Security securing the borders, all you need after that is an Internal Affairs Division to purge the corrupt out of the police, the army, and the Coast Guard. Get rid of them. So you have a proper, safe force that we can believe in, and then we can start the job of securing the absolute, securing the nation. Close the airport, close it back, and open the economy. Open the entire economy. Open the churches, open the cinemas, open the casinos, open the restaurants, open the bars, open the beaches, open the rivers, open the country back. Tell people who are afraid of COVID to continue to mask up. Stop calling each new positive infection a case. It is not a case unless it requires hospitalization. Start to give people information how to manage your COVID at home, what to take. That is the information that's supposed to be available. If people test positive, have a kit to get them. Go home and slap this on your head and put it in your mouth. That's where we need to go. That's where we need to go and come back away from this. Because the most important thing we need to be talking about right now is the economy. Our economy is in shambles. I don't know. I really don't know if we have an energy sector worth saving, to be honest. I don't think so. I think that we're in trouble. And I think that we need to be honest about that. And we need to identify all the quick ways that we could put people to work. Because while people used to make $15,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month, and right now they could only get a job paying them $5,000, $6,000 a month, as long as you could feed your family, get the family fed. The government had a responsibility 18 months ago to take all of the taxation off the banks and tell the banks, relax on all charges, relax on all loans, all interest, relax. We've allowed the banks to shut down. They have no salaries to pay, or half salary and quarter salary. Relax it. Relax it. We need our people to be able to stand up and go forward. That's what we need. The economy is the most important conversation we need to be having right now. Right now. We need to have that conversation. Because more people, far more people are going to die if we don't. This is going to get bad, and then it's going to get worse. We need to stop right now and take massive action to protect the people of Trinidad and Tobago. That is the conversation we need to have. And I said last year, March, I say it again, I volunteer my time, my guidance, my advice for free. I'll serve for free. Let's get the country back up and running. I don't care to throw down a government, to just throw up another government for politics' sake. What I want is the country run properly. And if we can't get that out of our parliament, if we can't fix our courts, our police, our ministries, our laws, our parliament, our senate, if we can't make the country functional, if we can't have a frank conversation about why we have a president or why we would have a senate, we need to have these conversations and save a lot of this money, because we can't continue this way. We cannot. There are boards in companies in this country. All those special purpose companies were set up by Patrick Manning to thief money. None of them are essential. Not Sport TT, not UDCOT, not HDC, not EFCL, not VMCOT, whatever. None of them. None. All of them need to be shut down. We need to go back to a robust and transparent tenders committee. That's what we need. And you could use your retired judges for that and rotate them and bring specialists in to advise them and treat it like a court case. What they can't understand, they could send for more information. We could fix it. It should fix. It's time to fix it. 65,000 people on boards that shouldn't be getting a salary right now. We need to fix it. Fix all of it. It could fix. Trinidadians need to understand that it could fix it. They need to hear people say that it can fix. It's getting worse every day, and you had an infection in your toe and you didn't treat it, and then your toe became gangrenous and you didn't fix it, and then it spread to your foot, and then it spread to your knee. All along the way you could have fixed it. You lost your leg and now it's infected your whole body. You're gonna die. That's how this is going to work. We're still in the toe. We're probably in the foot. Take off the foot and start over. You get a prosthetic. And I'm going forward with the analogy to get you to understand that decisions have to be made. We have to make hard decisions and stand by them. You cannot get COVID-19 from a rock. You can't get it from the clouds. You can't get it from the sea. If you secure the borders and shut down the airport, only the COVID that is in Trinidad will be in Trinidad. And if you isolate the at risk, it will work through the healthy and it will go away. It will die. Understand, if there are no more available hosts for it, it will die. That's how viruses work. That's how even the Spanish flu that killed 50 million people worked. When it ran out of hosts, it died. Anyway, there is a Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. I again implore you, if you are not yet a member of the Citizens Union, go to citizensunion.org or citizensuniontt.org, citizensuniontt.com, sign up the form. If you could pay online, pay now. If you need to pay, fill out the form and they'll contact you and they'll work it out with you. We also have something called the Business Affiliates Program. I have one more big thing to tell you all. We have something called the Business Affiliates Program. And the Business Affiliates Program allows businesses to offer deals directly to the tens of thousands of Citizens Union members, and we encourage our Citizens Union members to take all their business to our affiliates and enjoy the benefits of the discounts, the bargains, and the deals. This is something else that we have. And if you are in business and you want to be a business affiliate right now, WhatsApp Felicia Holder 7694590 and tell her, I want to be a business affiliate. Tell me how. There's a guy on the thread named Joseph Rich Paul. He could help you. And then there are people like Charmaine John, Adassa Charles McLeod, and all the others that are here could help you as well. If you run out of those and you didn't write it down, and don't remember, you could WhatsApp me and I'll forward it. There's something we're going to be doing, because they keep talking to you about the ever-increasing prices of food. So the Citizens Union is about to create a co-op. Now that's how our co-op is going to work. We are going to buy in bulk, but we are going to collect unit holders in this co-op. And that means you literally have to join and buy a unit in the co-op. This is not for everybody, but I'm telling you, you will save 50 and 60% off your grocery bill. And our first shipment we're going to do in time for Christmas. And all you have to buy is a unit. And we will tell you what a unit is, how much things it makes up, all of the things that you need for a life. And a unit is not negotiable. You're getting all of the things because everybody getting all of the same things. Dishwashing liquid, laundry detergent, mouthwash, toothpaste, toothbrush, soap, and that's personal hygiene. All of the non-perishable foods, beans, peas and carrots, all of that, tuna, corned beef, potted meat, ham, Vienna sausage, rice, pasta, those things, we are making a complete buy, and everybody gets what amounts to be a trolley. So let's say it's a full trolley of candy, confectionery, biscuits, nuts, because it's Christmas time. So we're going to have all of that. And they're working that out right now. I'm just giving you a heads up that this is coming. We're going to be calling it the Cut Co-op. And you can buy in and you could opt out. You're not stuck. But we launched the co-op when we are working out how many buy-ins we need to bring in the first shipment of containers. When the containers come, we break them up into 1,000 units, and everybody take what is their trolley full of groceries and they go with it, and we working it out so that when we work out what you have to pay, we also going to shop it in the major groceries. So we're going to tell you these 100 items is what coming as your unit. And if it costs you $1,000 here, we will shop it in Hilo, True Value, Westbees, JTA. And we'll be able to come back and show you that in those supermarkets, it would be $2,500, $3,000. So you have plenty of money to save. And we're not shopping at organizations close to expiry or scratch and dent, none of that stupidness. Proper, we are just buying in bulk to import for our members. The same way the supermarkets buy in bulk and import is the exact same way we're going to do it. If you are interested, stand by. There's nobody to message right now, but you heard it tonight. So when you see that we announce it, remember that it's going to be limited to first come, first serve. I use a number like 1,000. It could be 100. It could be 200. I don't know. They are working out the numbers. They're negotiating with the suppliers right now. But we're creating that co-op for Citizens Union members to save money on their grocery bill. So if you could save 50% of your grocery bill on the Citizens Union co-op, then the money it takes to join the Citizens Union is holy money. Kiss it, bless it, pay it, and join. We are creating all of this that we do. The business affiliates program, the membership that stands for the members against private and public sector abuse, and now the Citizens Union Co-op. Those things that we are doing are all to prove concepts. We don't want to be in the co-op business. We don't want to be in any of this business. We are doing it to prove a concept to you that if we could do this outside of government, imagine what we could do if we were the government. If we had the resources of state to make sure, because I don't understand why the state is not getting involved in keeping the prices of food down. Because there are many ways the state could be involved in that. There's another conversation we have to have. This video is already an hour and a half, so a half hour longer than it should be. But I want you to know that joining the Citizens Union, there are a lot of things. There is the service, there's this goods and service. We're working that out so that you will eventually be able to access your Citizens Union database of carpenters, masons, plumbers, electricians, people that we recommend, that we guarantee will do good work for you. Because you ever find yourself in a position where you need a mechanic and you don't know where to go? You're a Citizens Union member. Check our database to see who we have as recommended mechanics, and you have an option to give them, after they work for you, your mason, your electrician, your whoever, you have an option, just like in Uber, to give them a star or 2 stars or 3 stars or 4 stars and say, yep, good price, good service, excellent. And that is how we hope to build our internal people, and you get good service, good prices, they get continued work and a bigger customer base, and everybody start to live like a community again. The Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago is trying to prove the concept that we are in fact stronger together. And if we were living like that in Trinidad and Tobago since 1962, Trinidad and Tobago would be the richest country in the world, and everybody would want to live here. We're not like that yet. We could get there, and we have the ability to do it. We have a lot of good people. Gary Griffith, my brother. I mean, look at these people. Look at these people and their abilities. I know not everybody will love everything about somebody. I mean, it's impossible. Nobody's ever been universally loved. But the job is to get the job done. And if the job is to identify what the goals are, if we tell you, we negotiate with you, discuss with you, to come to the goals and say, listen, let's get to 75% water penetration throughout the country so that you may not have 100% water, but you have 75% water. There are people who say, boss, right now my plumbing is not even decoration. If I hear something coming through my taps, I call in the police. And that's the truth. There are people who have not had water for months. And it's unfair. And because they feel they're poor or they're in a poor community, there's nobody to call. Who's taking them seriously? Nobody. We make a mockery of each other. We laugh, we humiliate, we joke, move into a better area, you get water, all that kind of shit. But I remember when the biggest big shot family had to call me to get a number for a water truck because they couldn't get water. Anyway, join the Citizens Union. Let's prove the concept. Let's unite so we can stand together and stand up for each other again and again and again and again. It's the only way forward. Regardless of if it's PNM or UNC or whichever party is in office, we supposed to be able to tell them, we the people of Trinidad and Tobago, pay your salaries and this is what we want. We can't do that isolated and alone. We can't do it like that. We need to be able to speak truth to power from a position of power. And that's what the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago hopes to be. So if you like that idea, don't just sign yourself up. Sign your whole family up. Sign all your friends, all your co-workers. Sign everybody up. When you're in a company, sign all the workers in the company up. Because if the boss and them treating you bad, the boss, give me the number. I'll get him to come on board and treat you better. Our first position is not antagonistic. I remember somebody called me who was working for a company, said they furlough her and then they fire her. After the 6 months, they fire her. And they had made her promises and she passed up on jobs that she could have gotten, but she remained loyal to the company and she can't believe that it was so. I went to a bakery and I saw the boss in the bakery. I said, hey boy, but this is coincidental. One of your former employees called me today and this is the problem that she having. And he said to me, I did not know all of that, but I am going to deal with it and fix them. And she messaged me back to say, whatever you did, thank you very much. That's what we do. We in the relationship business first and foremost. We say red, white, black, green, and every shade in between. Hadassah reminded me the other night, I used to say it every night, like a rising tide lifts all boats. That's what we want to be. We want when you're fixing your wall outside your house, and you have a mason over there, and he plastering, and your neighbor have some cracks on the wall. I'm telling you, as somebody in this business, at the end of every plastering job, they have plaster to throw away. Tell your neighbor, hey, I just gonna let my boy, the fellow who working with me, plaster up your wall there too if you don't mind. When you're painting, nobody's buy exactly the amount of paint they need. Paint your wall, paint his too. Because you never know when he's going to have the advantage, and that advantage will fall on you, and that's how we have to live. That's how we're supposed to live. Not pushing our rubbish in front of the neighbor. Sweep your rubbish past your neighbor down the road. Let him come out and help you, and everybody sweep going together, and we collect and we go and we deal. Treat the garbage men with respect who come to pick up the rubbish at the end of the day, because if they may work for 3 days being shipped, treat them with respect, treat them nice. You know they're doing the job that nobody wants to do. Treat them nice. If you have something extra in the house, you don't know what to do with it, don't throw it away. Save it and wait for them and give it to them. Say, hey, you know, little things. It's the little things like that will start to fix. That's the broken windows theory. It's the little things like that will start to fix up the whole country. And people who are good to people will encourage those people to be good to other people. That's what the whole pay it forward movement was about. And again, all of this sounds so cliche. You know why it sounds cliche? Because it stands the test of time. But the problem in Trinidad and Tobago is we've just been evil and hateful and wrong to each other for too long, because we've been voting people into office that have been hateful and wrong to us. I don't care which comes first, the chicken or the egg. I don't care if it's the politicians to blame or the people who vote them into office to blame. I don't care. I think that we have a lot of good people in Trinidad and Tobago, and if we get them in office, they could precipitate the change that we need to make everything better. And I think that that's what all of us need to focus on. We talk about rowing together. You need to be rowing in the same direction. We need to get all of us on the same page, in the same book, reading the same line, wanting the same things. Everybody want the same thing. I don't have to be in Goodwood Park. You don't have to be in Laventille. For all of us to want a roof over our head, a comfortable bed, good education for our children, food on the table, and the ability to get somewhere in case of an emergency. Those are the things that people want. After that, you can go ahead and do your own thing. Nobody wants you to come and live their life and tell them what channel on TV to watch, who to lie down with and who to pray to. That's people business. Get out their freaking way. Just give people the opportunity to maximize their full potential and get out their way. Until tomorrow.